Welcome to the On the Spot podcast, where we talk to people from all walks of life and recovery. Brought to you by your favorite sober lounge, probably the only sober lounge, I think. It's called The Spot. It's on 3rd Avenue and Northern in Phoenix, Arizona, where they host several meetings every day, cultivate a positive environment of fellowship and recovery that supports sponsorship in the 12 steps. It's also a nonprofit that does a lot of good for a lot of people inside and outside of the rooms. So today's guest is comedy royalty. Yeah, let's see. He's Robert Lane or Saget, also known as Bob Saget. He's a stand-up comedian, actor, director, and television host who became a household name as the endlessly optimistic Danny Tanner on the hit sitcom Full House and its reboot, Fuller House. He hosted America's Funniest Home Videos, helped define a generation of family TV, and then blew people's minds with his Grammy-nominated special. That's what I'm talking about. He is also heard, you all probably also heard his voice narrating the future Ted Mosby on How I Met Your Mother. And you might know him from his own hit podcast, Bob Saget's Here For You, where he mixed empathy, heart, and completely off the rails comedy with his friends and guests. Even after his passing in 2022, his stories and jokes and kindness are still influencing comics, creators, and fans all over the world. Today, it is an honor to welcome Bob. Listen, I'm sorry. We had a girl named Vanessa doing research for us, and I'm not going to lie to you. She's going through some things. We keep missing cleaning product and spray paint out of the utility room. I'm pretty sure she's huffing. So prayers for Vanessa. I'm really sorry about that intro. This is Chris Metter. He's a family man, recovering alcoholic, electrician, and a damn good guy. So again, Chris, I apologize about that. How are you today? And thank you for doing this.
Well, Tim, thank you for having me. Thanks for asking me. I appreciate it. Yeah, I know very little about the spot. I think I know a couple of people that are running it. Great guys, and they have nothing but recovered for people and the best of their intentions at heart.
Yeah, it's a wonderful organization. So let's get into a little bit of kinda where you're at today, because I think it's just once we tell people where you're at today and then we kind of get into where you were, it's going to be sort of an amazing transformation story. We love a good transformation story.
Yeah.
One of those like
Well, it's kind of unfortunate that I'm known in the recovery circles in Arizona. I couldn't get clean. I couldn't get sober. I couldn't maintain. I couldn't do things. It was everybody says you can't do a geography change, because everywhere you go, there you are. But I always equated it to imagine you were a kid who was loved gummy bears, right? You love them. And you set up a circle, a network to where you got free gummy bears. Okay. And then you accomplished it. But by the time you accomplished it, you were 700 pounds and housebound. Okay. You were locked in your own prison. All right. Well, that was my kind of deal with drugs in Arizona. So, but I had some other avenues to help me to get out of Arizona, friends, other things, recovery circles here. Yeah. So, today, I live in Sheboygan, Wisconsin. All right, right near the water. There's a big lake. Home of the bratwurst, they say. All this other good stuff. Unfortunately, it's a drinking capital. It's very dense. It's everything else. Milwaukee's right down the way where they're making all the stuff. It's different. So, but today I have a family. I have a woman in my life that's absolutely amazing, which I understand the better half thing. I have a child. Um, he's 2.5, going on 3, autistic on the spectrum. But today I work. I take care of my family. I walk as close with God as I can in my own understanding that the program gave me. And I cleaned out all that BS on the inside. Started, living life, actually living life and doing good things. So, yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's people that are gonna see this and go, "I know that guy." And it's probably not gonna be of the best intention that you know me. Yeah, it is what it is, I guess. Yeah. So, but today I live an amazing life, Tim. I met you at the New Solution, joking around, kinda doing exactly what we're doing right now without a microphone, and recorded and
yeah.
everything else, and, doing it with other people and everything else and just having a really good time, and that was one of my things in recovery where, at least for me, it wasn't all gonna be boring. Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah.
because at times I was sitting in a halfway house room in a bunk bed, crying because I just did inventories or whatever, they may be, and, ashamed of myself, ashamed of what I've done, things like that, at your deepest, the lowest, and, you come out and you smoke and joke with somebody, and they remind you there's still humanity out there. So,
Exactly, and, and I say to anyone that's in a halfway house out there, honestly, that was, like, the best year of my life almost. Like, I never got the college experience, but, like, being at a halfway house with all you guys was
oh god,
incredible, and,
god, that's a horrible, horrible
shout
university
out to
trip.
Nancy. She was amazing. I love Nancy, like,
So, look,
yeah.
everybody can say what they want about Nancy. I just want to let you know this. Nancy's an amazing person, and she gave people chances in recovery that nobody else would give. She saw things in people. I have a son today, okay, and a family that I take care of, and Nancy's definitely directly in that path. Does that make sense? Now, how I got to Nancy is not good, and my actions there, not the best in the world. Nancy's definitely instrumental. So anybody can say what they want about Nancy. I got Nancy's back all day. She helped me when I at my lowest and didn't put a thumb on me.
Yeah, I love her. We all love Nancy. Anybody that's been to the New Solution in that period of time I mean, yeah, you can't not love her. She's amazing. She gave people chances that didn't deserve them. She fucking saw things in people, and that's what this whole thing is about. When you walk close with God, you start seeing things in other people, and you start doing things for other people, and you really get out of yourself because there's no solution in self. So it's really like living a life of purpose to help other people, and like that's the main goal. Surprise. That's what this whole thing's about. Like you get a relationship with God and then you bring other people to closer to God. Now, a question for you. I always ask this whenever I interview somebody that's from out of state. What is the recovery rooms like in Wisconsin? Like, what are the main differences between there and Phoenix?
Okay, so in Phoenix, if you're from someplace, you can go and you're not really gonna feel shame and guilt anymore because everybody there's worked it out and everything else. So I'm in a town of like 60,000 people. All right. So in Phoenix, when like I was homeless and things were bad, like, and you're hanging outside of a Circle K or whatever, you're never gonna see that individual again, most likely. You know what I mean? There's 6 million people or whatever, you're never gonna see him, okay? Guy drives on, goes home, you live your life. Well, here you're gonna see that person, okay? And this is just something that I've noticed from my relationship. I don't wanna, like, share too much, but if you get clean and sober here, because my woman is in recovery also, and if you get clean and sober here, there's a lot of past judgment that carries on, it seems. So that's the only thing I've really noticed here. It's very clicky, if you will, more so than like, some recovery rooms in Phoenix, if you will.
Yeah,
That's all. I've
so
also
there's
seen
still
the
that
book
like stigma.
I've also seen the book, written different here, you know what I mean? Things like that. Instead of the blue book, you always get in Phoenix and whatnot. It's like a shorter, condensed red one, that kinda deal.
Yeah.
This was my catalyst, and I just wanna say this, okay? I did some jail. I was not perfect when I got out here, alright, to Wisconsin. I was not, nor am I now, but when I got out here, I was still doing things and everything else, and, I got into a little trouble, and, I did a year and a half in county out here, and,
Oof.
going from a place of Phoenix, big city, everything else to, podunk jail, if you will, solves it straightens up some things, if you will. And, that was like my real catalyst because, you can be homeless in Arizona. All right. So anyone living at a halfway house, like in Phoenix right now, and you're getting on that relapse weight, you call it, you get a little healthy, got a little muscle, starting to look good, starting to feel good, got a little cash in your pocket, all the brand new stuff, and you're thinking
Maybe you
about
got a
going on
chick at the Scully house, like, you know what I'm saying? I'm just
maybe like
saying,
3
maybe
of
you
them,
do,
bro.
maybe you
I don't
don't.
know. You know what I mean? Maybe 3 of them. I don't know. Maybe they're all gonna talk later. I don't who knows, okay? Anyway, neither here nor there, Tim. Anyway, but, they, it's just in the same process where you're at right now, in that halfway house. I just wanted to state that. So if you're getting that relapse weight, looking good, money, getting ready to go, on a run, whatnot, you can survive in the wintertime, in Arizona, okay? In
You can
Phoenix, you can
thrive. It's the
yeah,
best
you know
time
what
to
I
be
mean?
homeless in Arizona.
It's amazing weather, you know what I mean? Absolutely amazing. Wisconsin does not give you that option. So it's, you clean your act up, okay, go to work, do what you gotta do, or you freeze to death outside. And I think that was a big thing for me at least, because I always had that, "Nobody's gonna control me. I'm gonna do what the hell I want. I'll live outside. I don't care," you know? And, yeah, so it definitely helped me, let's put it that way, because you can't live outside here, you die.
Yeah, it's just not feasible. You freeze to death in the winter. Here, you can die in the summer from heat stroke. I knew when I was homeless, I knew several people that summer that died from heat stroke. So it's like the opposite, but there's a very real danger of freezing to death and when you're someplace that it snows. Like
But
you
also
can't just
120 degrees shooting meth, you know what I mean? At bus stops, you know what I mean? The chance of stroking out are pretty much 100%. So,
yeah, if you're at a bus stop and you're shooting meth, I wanna congratulate you for making the economical choice and shooting it because you know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Like that is the economical choice. And I mean, I
God.
think you and me can both relate to that
It's the adult decision to do, you know what I mean? If you're gonna do your
100%.
drugs, as an adult, you know what I mean? You do them as an adult. Tim, please edit that correctly. Please edit all of that correctly. That's all I wanna say. There are gonna be people who are new in recovery, they're gonna watch this, all right?
Yeah,
Don't
yeah.
don't do that. That's all I'm saying.
No. Um, and that's like, so yeah, and especially like you're out there, you're shooting meth, you're dehydrated. I've seen people just forget to drink water in 120-degree heat. It's
Yeah.
crazy, you know.
Yeah, there's
So
people
yeah,
whose kidneys shut down, you know?
yeah, 100%. And to be completely honest, like it blows my mind that there's like a different book out there. Is it like the red book that we get here, like the little red one, or is it like
It's a short and condensed version of the Blue Book, apparently. I read it when I was in jail here. That's the only reason I know, you know what I mean? And it's just they skim over a lot of things. Now, they could just be an
wow?
introduction to recovery that I don't know about because it was during COVID and whatnot that I was locked up. So there was a lot of restrictions. There weren't the meetings being brought in. There was nothing like that. You're trying to do anything, get out of a jail cell, that type of thing.
Yeah, and it sucks that there's that stigma, attached to that out there, and I mean, I just wanna let everyone know that, like, I've been to other places, I've been to meetings and stuff, and, like, we are so lucky to be in Phoenix, Arizona, and in recovery because and it may not seem like it at the time because if you're new out there, you're probably struggling, and yeah, like, getting clean anywhere is very hard, and, thank congratulations to anyone out there who's new,
Well,
but you
if
are so
anybody's new,
lucky to be
I'm sorry to Tim, but if anybody's new, like, so here's an example. You ready? Like, Tim, how long have we known each other?
12
Yeah.
years?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So the recovery community is very, very tight in Phoenix. So if you're brand new, you're going to get swept up into something that's actually pretty amazing, and it's going to change your existence. That's the thing. It did mine quite a long time ago. Um, that's the reality. Get yourself a sponsor, home group, service commitment. Get yourself in the book. Get through the steps. Get guys through steps. You know what I mean? Do all of those things. Pray every day. If you don't believe in God and you're on this journey, you're going to. And if you really, don't believe in God, he's got a sense of humor. He's got a sense of humor, and he's going to put you. Well, you'll see. That's all. If you don't have patience, you'll get taught patience. If you have anger issues, you'll get taught how to talk peace. Through this program, once you clean out everything and you really become a vessel for God, life gets better. Put it that way. But that's
So
just to the newcomer. That's where I was at when I was there. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I never felt part of anything. I still have those feelings today. Things like that I work through on a daily basis. But if you're new to this program, I mean, focus on, focus on 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3 right now. 1, 2, 3. You know what I mean? That's it.
yeah, absolutely. And and it's crazy. This is gonna sound like a fake story because like you're like, if you don't believe in God, like you will. So when I was in high school, right? Like I had to drop out of high school and like work when I was younger. And that and I never showed up. So like I was probably not gonna graduate anyway. So I decided that it was best in my best interest and the interest of everyone around me to drop out and go to an adult high school Monday, Wednesday, Friday, right? And that worked for a few months. And then I couldn't even show up to that anymore, right? And when I did, I had this science teacher who I later found out was a recovering alcoholic, right? And yeah, his name, and you're not gonna believe it, Mr. Garrison, like the dude from South Park, right?
Nice.
And it was me and my friend Joey sitting in the back of his science class, and we used to bring a little water bottle full of Everclear in a Sprite bottle and like pass it back and forth. He came to
Right.
the back of the room one day and like smelled it and was like, "Oh God, that's got to be over 100 proof." Hands it back to us, and he's like, "You boys are gonna make good preachers one day." And we're like, "What are you talking about?" And we're in like Dimmu Borgir shirts, Cannibal Corpse shirts. Like we listen to death metal. And he's like, "You boys are going to make good preachers one day." And just like walks away. And like now, both of us, like super 100% opposite direction. Like, so I mean, it's weird. Sometimes I mean, God works through people, everybody, he's for everybody. It's not for it, death metal, country western, whatever your thing is, God is for you. There's room for you to
Oh,
believe in
absolutely.
this higher power thing.
Absolutely, and finding the higher power of your own understanding, like, so mine falls along in the Christian understanding of the Christ, teachings of that and whatnot, and, however you so choose, you know what I mean? That's your choice, but God's your best friend. God is everything. Talk to him like me and Tim are talking. Talk to him however you gotta do it, just talk to him, all right? Because, God never uses the strong. If you read all the books, all the stories, everything else, if, you were gonna hear a message from God, it wouldn't be from somebody who's eloquent in speech, who is not afraid of crowds, all that stuff. It'd be from somebody who has a stuttering problem and probably pisses themselves when they go in front of people. But by the time you heard that message, it'd be the most prolific message you've ever heard, and you'd know it came from God. So that's how God really works. It's an amazing journey, I'll put it that way, and you go through things that you never thought you'd go through. I can tell you this, Tim, 12 years ago, I thought of blowing my head off a lot more, you know what I mean, than anything else, and that was ever out there. And I just realized that I forgot to put my teeth in for this. This is kinda funny. Yeah. So they're in the other room, but,
You got
yeah,
teeth today.
anyway, I just realized that. That's fun. But, like 12 years ago, I thought about blowing my head off, like, on the daily, you know what I mean? But I couldn't afford a gun to do it, you know? So, like, you get to a point in life where it's a journey, let's put it that way. Like, this is a journey. I always listen to the guys who had, like, a bunch of time sitting up there saying, like, "I got this, I got this, I got all this, da, 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 da," and you get the one you want. I want the one with the flashy Gucci stuff and all the money, and drives the Mercedes or the BMW or whatever and da 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 da, and then you find out that you don't really want that. There's a whole other thing because you never knew who you really were to begin with, you know what I mean? So you learn all these things and then you learn what you like and dislike. And yeah, I think that was the biggest thing for me, I always wanted to appease the crowd. I always wanted to do shit like that. And anyway, it was
Yeah, no,
it's a
and, like,
learning
it's weird,
process.
like, this time around in recovery, I tried to pick the most spiritual sponsor I could find because, like, I had no spiritual connection the last time that I was in recovery, like, whatsoever, and, that's why I mean, that's why I relapsed. I was doing all the right things. I was doing the meetings, I was sponsoring guys, I was, chairing stuff, doing H&Is, and I was doing all of the footwork, but I just refused to get a relationship with a higher power, and, like, eventually, it's gonna fuck you up. You know what I'm saying? Like, God to
Yeah,
me is a lot like gravity, you know? Because, like, even though you can't see him, doesn't mean he doesn't exist, and if you walk around and pretend he doesn't, you're probably gonna get real hurt. You know what I'm saying? Like,
no, that's
I,
good. That's really good. That's
yeah,
really good.
and so I picked a dude that, like, is super spiritual, and he's everything I wanted to be, he's, like, tall, bearded, and pretty good at basketball. So, like, I wanted to be those things, and I picked him? And,
Smart.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm 2 of those 3 things today,
I mean, you're pretty
you
tall.
know?
You're pretty tall.
I'm huge and, bearded. Yeah,
So no, that's
yeah,
freaking
and
awesome.
what I'm saying is if you're a newcomer out there, just get a sponsor. It fucking pick somebody. If you hear somebody at a meeting and they scare the shit out of you, that should probably be your sponsor. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the dude, like, because I've noticed, and, like, this is for the newcomer out there, maybe you can relate to this. Sometimes in the rooms, like, we're around people, like, we're around these guys, and it's almost like not like a sexual thing, but like an attraction, right? Like, you're just drawn to this person or these people. And even though you're kind of intimidated by them too. You know what I'm saying? You're a little intimidated, but you kind of like want to be around these people, right? And I couldn't figure out what that was in early recovery. And like I was like, why am I intimidated around these guys? Like, you know what
It's
I'm
the
saying? Like,
trap
why?
house mindset, Tim. It's the
Yeah.
trap house mindset. I'm letting you know that. When you're in the trap house, everybody intimidates you, you know what I mean? "Oh, man, I can't do this," and I bet you somebody even showed you how to do drugs, but when you go to a meeting, all of a sudden, you're like, "I know it all. I don't need a sponsor. These guys intimidate me, but I'm not gonna talk to them and da 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 da." So, just remember you were in a trap house once and somebody had showed you how to do drugs, and you had to talk to people to get those drugs. So that when you're in a
100%.
meeting next time, go talk to some people, alright? Go get some recovery because the recovery is the new drug.
But yeah, what I realized was the reason I was intimidated by these guys is because they had something I didn't. And like it was this like intimate relationship and understanding of a higher power, and that, like, intimidated me. You know what I'm saying? Because I didn't have that, and it was just like, what about them is making me so, like, not uncomfortable, but, like, like it was just like a little intimidating, because like when you have that thing inside of you, people notice, and like to me, we're in rooms of recovery. There's these dudes that are surrounding us that are like could have the potential to be seriously dangerous people. Like, you know what I'm saying? We've all done things in the past that were super bad, but today they have this thing inside of them that allows them to choose not to be. And like that is true strength. When
Amen.
you have the ability to be a dangerous man, but you choose to do good, that is the definition of strength. Otherwise, like if you don't have that like I think that's more impressive than somebody that's like, you know, doesn't have that ability and like, is a good person because, I mean, when you have that ability and, in your past, you've done all these terrible things and today you're choosing not to because of this thing that you have inside of you and you want to live a better life, that transformation shit is what really proves to me the existence of something larger. And like you hear these
Absolutely.
stories like me and you, like where we just could not stop doing drugs and like we could not stop hurting people around us and making decisions that like hurt other people and ourselves. And then now today, like I try my best not to, which is crazy. I never thought I would ever think of anybody but myself. You know what
You
I'm
go
saying?
out of your
I
way
never thought of.
you go out of your way to do it. That's the
Yeah,
weird part. What I found out today, and this is gonna sound it's horrible, right? So, like, if I'm in line at the grocery store and I get an over amount of change, like, say there's $2 cash comes back extra, you know what I mean? I gotta say something, okay? Like, because if I don't, all right, and this is gonna sound insane, but, like, if I don't, people are always like, "Oh, the slippery slope. This could go this way, it could go whatever." That's how it starts with me. That's literally how it starts. So, it's things like that, and then things like that turn into other behaviors turn into, and it's always at least for me, it's never the big things, it's always the little things, it's the if you go on a
100%.
picnic, it's never the bears that eat your lunch, it's the ants, you know what I mean? So, it's always the bunch of little stuff, you know what I mean? That's
Yeah,
just
and
for
that
me.
stuff that's integrity. You know what I'm saying? And it's like we have to have integrity with ourselves. You know what I'm
Yeah, but
saying?
the only
We
reason I
have to
have it
have.
today but hold on, Tim, the only reason I have it today, or most people in the program have it, whatsoever today, is because there was such a lack thereof prior, and once you put it down on paper, once you look at it, once you actually go through it, oh, man, you don't still wanna do it again. That's it. You don't wanna do it again. That's how it goes. So, it's yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, and for so long, and like this is the way I look at it. For so long, I did all these bad things that I like bragged about to people. Today, I try to do some good ones and like not get caught. You know what I'm saying? Like I try to do like because
Also with you.
I was so far this way that I had to course correct in order to fix my life. So I went in the other direction. And like again, I don't know anyone out there that is in this program for long term that like doesn't have at least a sense of integrity. So for the newcomer that's out there, if you're around a guy and like it's intimidating at first and like they're doing things that you want to happen in your life, and like that, like the material stuff is great. Like, don't get me wrong, I have very little, but like it's the stuff on the inside that nobody sees. That's the real transfer. That's the real stuff in this program, and it's
All the
crazy.
physical crap, Tim, all the physical crap, all of it, so, like, you're for example, your body, all the stuff that it's bad, right, feels good, you know what I mean? Like, all of it, like, drugs, alcohol, sex, all of this, it all feels amazing, right? That's because this is not eternal, you know what I mean? Like, it all goes to the wayside, like, that type of deal. Like, your flesh is gonna die, mine's gonna die, you know what I mean? One day, it's all gonna go to the wayside, alright? You're definitely more than just a rotting meat suit, you know what I mean? I'm definitely more than a rotting meat suit, so all of that's gonna go somewhere, you know what I mean, in your beliefs, alright? And, yeah, there you go, man. There you go.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, like it's that stuff that's on the inside, the stuff that you can't see, the stuff that you really can't define or touch. Like that's the important shit in this program. And like, I call it like that, like it says it in the book the best way, that point of neutrality, because I think everybody equates the word serenity with happiness. Sometimes it's not necessarily happiness. Sometimes it's just a point of neutrality that you can approach every situation with and not be too thrown off. You know what I'm saying? Like you can kind of just remain. You have the ability to reroute and remain and like, and I'm not saying I'm perfect at it. Of course, there's stuff that bothers me, but like it bothers me a lot less than it used to, and it affects me a lot less than it used to because I'm around a really good group of guys that I can reach out to for advice. I have a higher power of my own understanding to help me through it. And like, it's just kind of like no matter what gets thrown my way, I want to overcome it today. Not for me. but, like, so that I can show a newcomer it's possible, if that makes sense.
You if you're a man in this program, all right, and you're brand new, number 1 is they always say, like, "Don't get in relationships in the first year, da, 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 da." So you can choose to listen to that, okay? Or you can be retarded, all right, and do it, you know what I mean? And, what I'm getting at is if you're new to recovery and you're a man, find a men's group like Tim was saying, all right? A strong men's group. I know there's the Knights there. I'm sure there's a bunch of others by now. Okay. There's a bunch of
Yeah.
others by now. But find a good, strong, solid group of men. Stay away from the females in the program in the beginning. That's it. And you know what? In general, stay away from the females in the program. Anyway, I hope my wife's probably sleeping right now, so with the kid. So if I wake her up saying these things, it's gonna be funny, Tim. That's all. Anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, but just stay away, do the right thing in the program. If you're living at a halfway house in the program and you're brand new, right? You got to think of yourself like this, like, what do I have to offer the world at this moment? Okay. And if you're a man, you already have to build your own value and everything else. And if you're at a halfway house with your bus pass, man, holy shit, bitch, you got a food card too. You know what I mean? You must be balling out of control. All right. And that's how I felt sometimes when I was there. So don't get me wrong. All right. I'm not talking shit entirely because I
And
did
plus,
that.
we had that little gas station up the street that would take our food card for cigarettes, so it was like, we were set up, bro,
Well,
like, we
first of all,
we
I
were
would
good
never
with our
admit to,
food card.
yeah, but I'd never
Yeah.
admit to any fraud, Tim. All right. That's number one. Okay. I would never admit
They
to that. You
overcharge
know what I
too. They
mean?
charge an extra, like, what was it? An extra $3 a pack for, like, if you put it on your food
Yeah.
card, like, it was crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it is what it is. You could buy cartons, you know what I mean, everything else, so it's Phoenix, man. It's Phoenix. It is what it is, you know? But, and that's one of those hookups with hold on, see you see how excited, you know what I mean? Because I remember that feeling, all right? And that excitement of, "Oh, man, I get cigarettes," you know what I mean? Like, I'm balling out of control, you know, like, that kinda thing, and the mindset today is completely different. Like, today what I'm getting at is, hold on, if you're at a halfway house and you get a bus pass, you get your food card, and you think you're balling out of control, you're not. Stay away from the females, get in your steps, call your sponsor at any point you think you know what's going on, look just open your fucking eyes and look around because 'cause you're sitting at a halfway house. There. That's the best way I can say it, you know what I mean? And I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with that. Like, I did my time at the halfway house. I did a circuit for a long time in halfway houses, and, some were needed and some weren't, I'll put it that way. I realistically, at some just took up space for individuals that probably could have used it. They definitely could have used it, not probably. And I wasted that. And, that's one of those other things that I deal with, um, when I talk to my God, like, well, there's individuals that probably didn't make it because I was a selfish asshole, you know what I mean? It is what it is. So,
And I mean, and that's the thing, like, if you're sitting at a halfway house and, you're bummed out, because, it's not where you wanna be in life, whatever, blah, 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 blah. I mean, think of it this way, like, I look at it like, you have the potential to have this incredible story that you can share with a newcomer one day. The reason you're over there, and it even says it in the book, victory over these things is simply for the reason to show people the power of God's will, right? So, like, it's not for us. Like, the only reason we get through these things, it's simple third step shit. Like, the only reason we've ever been able to overcome any sort of obstacle in recovery was just to show, like, the power of God in our lives, right? So if you're at a halfway house, you're jobless, you got your bus card, your food card, um, you're there so that one day you can relate to a newcomer that's sitting in your position and they'll trust you, you know? And
well,
I mean, we've all had to do it. We've all been there.
I
You're
always
right where you're supposed to be.
yeah, oh, exactly, you check it out. Yeah, you're exactly where you're supposed to be, and nothing, absolutely nothing happens in God's world by mistake. Once you get that down, things become a little more understanding, if you will.
Yeah. And and again, like you said, like, stay away from, like, for me, I still to this day go to men's meetings. Like, I go to a stag meeting twice, two stag meetings a week. I bring an H and I into the Salvation Army, and then Thursday I hit the Knights. You know what I'm saying?
Nice.
So, like, that's like, I literally just I try to just hit men's meetings. Not because, like, I don't trust myself around females or anything today. It's because I those are my people. Those are the groups of guys that I surrounded myself with, and they have strong recovery. They have what I want, and that's where I go, you know? And I mean, if you're going to meetings, and I always say this to the newcomer too, if you're going to meetings at first, if what gets you to the meeting is there's women there, keep going then. Okay, that's fine. You
You're
might get
right.
the
Yeah,
message
you're right.
eventually, you know? If
Yeah.
that gets
Is
you in the door, fine.
is Is Razor's Edge still going? Yeah?
I think it is. I
Yeah,
think
did
it
I nail
is.
that one on the head? Did I nail that one on the head? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes, you
that's
did.
yeah, yeah,
That
g
was
go to that meeting. Go to that meeting. It at least gets you into a meeting. Even if you're staring the entire time at this way, you know what I mean, and going, "Ooh," the entire time, at least it got you to a meeting. You know what I mean? Like, that's a reality. Like, this is what it really is if you're a newcomer, and I'm gonna skip ahead a lot for you, okay, if you're a newcomer, so just check this out real quick, and it's probably not gonna make a lot of sense right now, okay? But you have a superpower, okay? And I've said this forever, all right? You have a superpower that judges tried to do to me, all right? Lawyers tried to do to me, all right? Doctors tried, okay? Shrinks, all right? Police officers, all these things tried, all right? And they could never do it. They went to school for it. They paid a lot of money, all right? And they could never do it. And what it is I could take any person in recovery, and I can sit them next to another broken human being who's has a spiritual malady, and they can do that thing that the judges, cops, lawyers, doctors, everybody can't do. And it's real simple, actually. It's you can gain their trust. That's your superpower. You can actually gain their trust, and that's huge. It's instrumental in this world. So yeah, that's your superpower. If you're sitting at a halfway house right now and you're wondering like, what am I going to do and everything else? Well, I mean, I don't know what you're gonna do for a job yet. All right. I have no idea what your life's gonna become. I have no idea, but I know that if you're truly have the faith and you're in God's hands and you're walking in that grace, you're already protected and the story's already written for you. You're just you just gotta let God drive the bus. That's it. So that's how it works. You gotta get out of the driver's seat and let him drive the bus.
yeah, 100%. And that's the thing, like, it even says in the book, whatever gets you to the meetings, whatever gets you in the door, it's fine. Like it says, we came to scoff and later stayed to pray. Like even right now, like if you're miserable at your halfway house, if you don't like the meetings, if it's that old saying, if you find yourself walking through a mile of shit, the best thing you can do is just keep walking,
Yeah.
because
I'm gonna get a bottle of
eventually,
water. Hold
I
on.
promise you,
Oh, right here.
while he's
I get a
gone,
bottle of
go to
water.
the
Sorry.
spot, 43rd and
That's it.
Northern, meetings all day.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Do we have a commercial break right there?
Yeah, yeah, I just,
Nice.
plugged the
Nice.
spot real quick, but yeah,
Hi,
no, like
Brian.
like, it
Yeah,
I
say
love
hi,
Brian. Hi,
Brian.
Brian. He's in Thailand right now, and,
Oh,
I
he's
just
finally getting
got
that
I just
surgery.
got word. Huh?
He's finally getting that surgery.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
good,
it's funny,
good.
I just got word that they thought he was a giant in Thailand, like, they thought he was a
Oh
literal
god,
giant, and
with the red hair. Oh
he's,
god,
like, now the captain of their national basketball team, he's got a shoe deal and everything. He
that
ain't
makes
coming
sense.
back,
That makes sense. That makes sense.
But yeah, dude, it's like, at first, if you're miserable, you're going to these fucking meetings, you don't want to be there. You got the sponsor, you're calling him every day, you don't want to. The best advice I can tell you is keep doing it because you're doing the right things. You may not like it yet, but it's definitely better than the alternative, which is a guaranteed death or you're going to jail. Like I hate to break it to you.
Man,
And like this is what I tell all the dudes at the Salvation Army, like when I go there on Wednesdays or whatever, I fucking tell them, I'm like, look, why not try this thing? Your best thinking got you in the Salvation Army. Like,
yep,
if you're
yep.
miserable, you probably should be. If you were happy living around 150 other dudes here, I would be worried for you. If this was your happy place, I'd be fucking terrified. So, like, while you're here, let's take the opportunity to do some work so you don't have to come back. Like,
I'm a graduate. I'm a graduate of the ARC.
really?
Yeah,
That is, it's such
I
an
did
intense program.
4 months on restriction there.
I believe it, dude. With
Yeah,
the yellow
yeah,
whaler. Yeah.
yeah, with, Rosemary. Rosemary was her name, alright, back in the day, and, yeah, she gave me a flu shot when I didn't want one also. Yeah, I had to have one to stay on property, so that's kinda nuts.
Yeah. Oh, that makes sense. You got the
Yeah.
jab. That's why.
No, 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 I
That
didn't get the
solves
jab.
all.
No, 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 I didn't get the jab, dude. No, 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 no. She gave me a flu shot. This is like in 2012 or something like that. Yeah.
Okay, so you're good.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah. No, no, I didn't get no COVID shot. Listen, look, man, I am a recovering intravenous drug user. Okay. All right. I want to let you know this. And I trusted Pablo the plug, okay, more than I would ever trust a congressman, senator, or government. All right. When it came to drugs. So when Pablo the plug said, this is good shit, man, I believed him. When they said, there's a free COVID shot out there, I had to remind myself that nobody gives away free drugs. Nobody. Nobody gives away free drugs. And once you
You
get that
don't.
in your head as an intravenous drug user, you realize that once you
You
get that
don't.
in your head as an intravenous drug user, you realize that what the fuck are they doing? And that's it. Anyway, neither here nor there. That's a little sidebar. You probably should edit that out so it's not political or anything. But anyway,
Yeah. Well, let's
yeah,
roll a clip. No, I'm just kidding.
it's awesome.
But, but yeah, dude, no, and that's the thing, like, it's so like, I'm for the newcomer out there, like, me and Chris were probably the last 2 people that anybody thought could ever get sober, you know? And it's
Yeah.
crazy. Like, I was even, like, I mean, I wouldn't have put money on either of us, and,
So
like,
so there's a woman that you had on your podcast, all right, Eliza, and she's awesome. She's absolutely awesome.
yeah, she's
I was
great.
actually in high
She's
school
wonderful.
with her. What's that?
Yeah, she's wonderful.
Yeah, no, no, she's
Yeah,
she's
she's a good
awesome, all
person.
right? I was in high school with her, and, I actually gave her a lot of hell in high school and everything else, and she'll know this and da da da. But, she's an amazing woman, all right? And it's weird because I was actually at a halfway house with her husband, all right, now, and, so I did what you did, I relapsed, I was a constant relapser, that was my thing, and, pick up a little bit of time, get the relapse weight, get the little bit of cash, and be on a run, right? And I remember seeing her, a couple years later, and she looked at me and said, "Oh my god, you're alive." And, it was a moment of, "Holy shit." So everybody just thinks I'm gonna die, you know what I mean? And that's where it gets scary because you're in the program for so long, you're relapsing, and Brian actually told me this, all right? Because of my story, all right, I have a different perspective and a different way to help people. Brian's never relapsed. You know what I mean? He hit this program, all right? He's done amazing with the steps. He actually did exactly what the book says. I just want to let everybody know that, all right? Exactly what the book says. So later, when you're like, I have an idea that's better than the book, Brian didn't do that, and he's still clean and sober, all right? I've done that. I relapsed in the past. Got it?
Hmm,
Anyway, just throwing that out there, all right? But because of that, I have a different perspective and I can help those who have relapsed. You know what I mean? Who have gone out and performed more incomprehensible demoralization because there's always more, unfortunately. That's the thing. When I first got in rooms and guys would talk about your misery's at the door to be refunded for you and all this, you hear all these stupid cliches, right? You know why they're stupid? Because they all make sense and they work. And that's what really sucks. You know what I mean? Like, easy does it, one day at a time. Like you hear this shit and you sit in these meetings and go like, fuck, I hate this crap. And it's all true, and it all comes to fruition over time because really is just one day at a time. You know what I mean?
yeah, that's
Anyway,
all we
anyway, I
have.
digress. But all of it's real. If you're new, you're on a wild journey. That's it. You're on a wild journey. Welcome to becoming a spiritual gangster and a spiritual warrior. That's it.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the thing, like, I've relapsed too, so, like, yeah, my story's, similar to
Man, you
yours.
called me for
Just
drugs.
I did,
You know what I
did.
mean?
Yeah,
That's another
you know?
thing, guys. If you're new in this program and you're looking around a room and you're like, man, that person would be fun to party with, and this person and that person, like, they're not. Just letting you know that they're just as horrible as you. Let me look at the camera. They're just as horrible as you. That's it.
Yeah, like,
Anyway,
and sometimes worse. You know, I it's crazy, like, 'cause I, like, met people in this program and, and then when I relapsed, I would see them out there, and I was like, "Oh, like, I know this person from here and there, and, like, I can trust them," and you can't. Everybody, you know, uh, and it's like, when you relapse, it never gets better, it only gets worse, and everybody says that, nobody believes it. Everybody has
it's
to go
true.
out and do their own research, but
Yep.
I'm telling you, every relapse I've ever had just got worse. Like, it
Okay.
never got better.
So,
And then
so I
and
have a
then I would
son
feel
now.
this guilt and shame.
Like,
Huh?
I have a son now, right? Like, I have a kid, and I don't ever want my son to go through anything of what I went through, Tim, like anything, right? So now I just want to take that love, okay, that I have for my son to never do what I did. And any newcomer that's out there, like you don't have to do what we did. Listen, you can if you want, all right? But the road is hard. That's all. The road is very, very hard. Okay. And you don't have to be on that road. You can take the road to recovery done correctly is absolutely amazing, will change your existence. Look at Brian. That's it. Can I stress that enough? Look at Brian.
Yeah.
I obviously just needed a bunch more research and, to go through, horrible, horrible things in my own life just so, I wouldn't do it again. And that's just touching the electric fence with a sign that says "Don't touch this electrified fence," you know? That's all that is.
And 100%. And like, yeah, guys like Brian and Stefan, like, if
Stefan.
like if
Totally forgot about
yeah.
Stefan. I know Stefan. What's up, Stefan? Cool as shit.
Yeah, his story is incredible too. Like guys like that,
Mhm.
like who've been where they've been and come to where we are today. Like their story is so powerful because they've really been there. And you know that, and it's like that's why you can only really trust another addict or alcoholic when you're new in this program because you never trusted the other people that are like you should stop, you should do this. You're like fuck them. They don't know what I'm going through. You know what I'm saying? And they don't
Exactly
like
right.
they just stop? No, they probably couldn't. And that's the truth. They probably could. But if you look at somebody like Brian or Stefan and like, you see them really living the spiritual principles of this program and you know where they've been and they somehow make the choices they make today on a daily basis and have this relationship with God, like, you know, you think it's possible. You trust these guys or guys like them. And you start to live a better life, you start to live a life, period, of purpose and like meaning. That's what all of us are really searching for, is just a purpose. What is my purpose in life? That's why we pray for God's purpose and the strength to carry it out, like it's that simple. Because in life, you know, there's a huge difference between what I want for my life and what God wants for my life,
Oh, yeah.
and
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Absolutely.
when those two things align, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, but when they don't, it's also, not the most beautiful thing in the world. Like, I just wanna state that,
100%.
And it's
Yeah,
weird
it's a
because if once again, you're sitting in a halfway house, all right? You're brand new, you have burnt every bridge, all right? You're probably sitting at, like, the spot at, like, 1 o'clock on a Tuesday, all right? You know what I mean? Like, your life is not the best, okay? Whatever God has in store for you, like Tim said, if you can figure out and coincide those together, what you want and God wants, it's perfect. But until then, just listen to other people. Cause like Tim was saying for the guys in the Salvation Army, your best thinking got you there, all the other good stuff. Just remember, man, you're on a journey. You know what I mean? You're on a journey. It's definitely different. Put it that way.
And I'm guilty of this just like you are, just like, and I told the guys this too. I'm like, listen, like it's real easy while you're in rehab or jail to start like reading the Bible and like saying you want to do this and saying you want to do that. It's like
Dude,
that jail
everybody's a
talk shit.
preacher in jail. Listen, everybody's a preacher in
100%.
jail. Everybody's a pre. Everybody knows the program left and right. The thing is, I always use God as a crutch, right? Okay, like they talk about like
Yes.
foxhole prayers. They talk about everything else. You know what I mean? I always use God like I'm in trouble now. Help me out. You know what I mean? Or here's the ultimatum I give you. You know what I mean? Like that kind of shit. And it's never that. It can't be that. It can't be. You have to be doing good the whole time, okay? You don't use God as a crutch. And if you do use God as a crutch, like in jail, you were saying, Tim, and you use it to run faster without the crutch later. Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah,
I've seen so many
exactly.
guys, they check God out at the door, you know what I mean? They're in jail. They hit jail. Their family puts some money on their books. I got $20. I can get me a hot pickle and some nacho sauce and make a fucking, a cheese sauce. And that way the slop's not that bad, right? I can do that. And yeah, and everything's doing great because I got Jesus. And now mom's talking to me and Aunt Matilda's talking to me and Uncle Steve is talking to me. So we're all good. But as soon as that door opens, you're left to your own devices again. You know what I mean? Because that's what it's about. It's about when you're left to your own devices, you're gonna have that integrity, you know? The book talks about it like recoiling from a hot flame, you know what I mean? After you got it, you know? Um, there's moments in my day, you know what I mean? I have moments in my day I live in Wisconsin where everybody drinks. I just want to state that. Like, it is a Saturday right now, and people like where I work, they have the get-togethers. They have everything where we don't go. Do you know what I mean? Like we just don't do that. It doesn't exist because that's my life with it. But that's only because of God. That's only because of what I have going on today. Does that make sense?
100%. And that's the thing, like, for anybody out there, like, that's, like, in a position of being in, rehab or, been in jail and, like, you find God, and that's great. You found God, but it says you have to seek God, right? To seek is to look
Every day.
for the intention to use. Like, you can't just be like, "Found God, perfect," and then walk away from that shit. You gotta, like, fucking use it, and, like, do the interpersonal work, do that shit so it, like, sticks so that, like, you can live a life of principles so that, like, when you do get out on the street, when you do leave those institutions or jails or wherever you're at, that, like, these principles you can apply them to your life. Because I can't tell you how many times that, like, I've seen people talk about God and then say this great stuff about God, but then somebody comes to the pod with a half a boat in their butthole and, like, they're loaded. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I mean,
Yeah.
and I've seen it time and time again.
Yeah. No,
And
no,
it's
no,
like,
no,
"Oh,
that
wow."
happens.
Yeah,
Man, Tim, I've been at so many halfway houses where guys were using, okay? I've been the guy using at halfway houses, okay? I was at TLC. I was there for I was on like they call it a hard six, all right? I guess it was like one of the first they gave a hard six to. And I just used the entire time I was there. But it got to a point in recovery where I went to enough of these houses where I'd say things to guys that were using, and this is not a joke, where I was like, either you tell or I tell. Okay. Because I'm serious this go around. And if you're doing this here, you know what I mean? It's not going to benefit me. You know what I mean? In the long term, I'm not, if I'm here to get healthy, you know what I mean? Like the book talks about that we have a daily reprieve, okay? And reprieve is a stay of execution. I had to like look that up, you know what I mean, years ago and stuff because they talked from the 1920s, and you're like, what the hell is nobody talks like that. Nobody says we have a daily reprieve. So I had a sponsor at the time who had me look it up, all this other stuff. It means a stay of execution. So it means that when you found God in your jail cell while you're on death row, and then they exonerated you from death row, as soon as you hit that door, you were like, God who? God who? You know what I mean? God doesn't exist here. Like, ha, 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 I got out. And that's the God that I had before. Does that make sense? That was the foxhole God. That was my crutch. You know what I mean? That's what I did. That's what I had. I wasn't the guy smuggling the boat in, you know what I mean? But I was definitely the guy doing some of the boat.
100%. And like you said, it's like I'm just gonna throw this out there. God doesn't just exist in your rehab or in your jail. He exists everywhere. So, like, you can
Yeah.
take that feeling
Yeah.
with you outside of the fucking
Yeah.
walls. Like, you
I
know what
mean,
I'm
I don't
saying?
want to be like, I don't want to be the guy, you know what I mean? That like, I'd be at meetings back in the day and you hear like the girl talking about, she just got her 30-day chip and she's telling you about God. And you're like, well, 32 days ago, weren't you, on your knees getting a bag for God? You know what I mean? And like, I don't want to be that guy that points that out, but because God does work that way. Hold on. God really does work that way. I don't want to be totally rude on that situation because God does take the weak and makes them strong. But it's one of those things where you gotta hear the source. Does that make sense? You gotta see the source in action. Because for me, God's a verb, you know what I mean, today. God's an action. That's what it is for me. And,
It is.
if I choose to believe any different, which is crazy, because like, I have a kid. I have a son. I watched the miracle of God. I literally can hold a miracle of God and look a miracle of God in the eyes today. And anyone else who does that, like I never understood when people are at the height of their addiction, they turn from their children. Okay. And this is bad, but it's until I had a child. Okay. And I haven't turned from my child or anything like that. I'm good, all that other stuff. But I understand the disease of addiction more by having a child now. And there was women in rooms that were hurting for not having no children, all this stuff, and you kind of you see that side of it, if you will. What I'm getting at is there's a lot of growth in a short amount of time. And but for the longest time, all of my progress was nil to nothing, if you will. Okay, so that's what's crazy. All of my progress, to me at least, seemed like it was nil and nothing, and I wasn't going anywhere, and I was just spinning my wheels the entire time, and looking for a phone room job at a halfway house, so I could pay bills and hopefully make enough sales that week, that kind of deal. Anyway,
Yeah. Speaking of phone room stuff, like, I want to kind of get into that a little bit because I think it's so crazy, like, how where you were to where you are now. And, like, just to let people know who are out there, and, like, I'm guilty of it too. Sometimes we equate happiness and success with financial situations. Because I'm
Absolutely.
assuming you probably made more then than you do now. Like, you know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
yeah, the amount of money you were making at a halfway house was
Yes.
staggering.
Yes. Yes. So if you were ever 10, 12 years ago, 12, 15 years ago in recovery, there was a model system that was built on how to make money. And it was phone rooms. And what they were doing basically is somebody in recovery, of course, because they had slave labor basically at the time, would pay you just enough if you made no sales on the phone, working in a phone room to cover, pack of cigarettes and your rent for the week at a halfway house. And they may or may not have known the halfway house owner, and able to been put up flyers and everything else. And it's kind of one of those systems where once you got stuck in, if you weren't good at it, you were fucked. You know what I mean? And I was decent at it. Let's put it that way. So there was a lot of don't want to use that F word again, Tim. Be careful. A lot of charges got thrown out in that day and time. You know what I mean? So let's not use that F word. But there was a lot of lying on the phone. There was a lot of yeah, we said everything got fulfilled, but it was to a cheap website that nothing ever happened. Why they spent thousands. And then you call them back and milk them for more money. So I talked about with you prior to this, and at least a long time ago, there was, "Hey, I'm sober, okay? I'm not drinking, I'm not doing drugs, I'm all sober, but none of my actions dictate anything healthy, spiritual, honest, anything with integrity." It's weird because at the time, I'm selling, and everybody is selling the illusion of look at all the money, look at everything, but nobody's life is together. You know what I mean? Nobody. Everybody is, for lack of a better term, spiritually bankrupt and just covering it up with money at the time. And it was pretty disgusting. That's all. And you look back on that, this is what you had to change. You could sober up, you have a drunk horse thief and you sober him up, you still have a horse thief and that's it. So you got together a bunch of drunk ass horse thieves in the same place and just took away that you made them sober. So it was just a bunch of fucking horse thieves. I'm saying that because I was a horse thief, metaphorically on the phone. And there were guys running their own accounts after, and then it basically became pirate ships, guys, making when you make a substantial amount of money a week that fast, with the mindset that I only have to pay $125 for rent this week, everything else is mine. You know what I mean? Like it's gone, it's gone. And then that only floats so long in sobriety before you get that check and say, screw this, I can go have a good time, And that happens. That happened a lot over and over and over again. But it's really weird because when I stopped doing that, when I stopped ripping people off, when I stopped the lying, I stopped all that big F word, the rod, that one. You throw that all encompassing, you start to get better, you start to get healthier, it goes back to getting the too much change at the register, now, and I have to say something, all right? Because with me, next thing you know, I might be talking to this woman about selling her insurance premium, and I don't even know what the insurance premium is yet, but we're gonna make it up. You know what I mean? Like we might rent out, if you're in a halfway house, I don't want to throw out a lot of stuff, all right, there, but I was homeless in Phoenix for a long time shooting meth in the street. And I just want to share this one thing because I was a little proud of it. All right. There are a lot of homes in Phoenix that they call them ghost homes, ghost properties. And what usually donates a ghost property is over 7 years. Nobody's lived in them, okay, or rented them out or anything like that. And there's a lot of them on the market in Phoenix. And at the time, you could do it at the public library at Zillow, and get all these homes. And then you would simply, I'm not saying I would, I would never. Anyway, but
I
you
would
get
never
somebody.
make up a lease between me and like a fake landscaping company or maintenance company that would dictate like, hey, this person died 7 years ago. Maybe the person that, the lease is with used to work at that company and they no longer do. So there's this agreement that nobody can prove either way. And
You're
like,
getting it.
maybe there's this fake lease and they come to the property to kick you out, but you have an agreement to do maintenance on it after a certain amount of years and they allow you to stay there, or they have to pay you a certain amount to leave. And really what that does is just maybe it ties them up in court for so long that like, by the time that everything goes through, you're already long gone to another place. I'm
Yeah.
not saying that I've done it. I'm just
Yeah.
saying
Yeah. It's a commonality. It's a commonality. That's all I'm getting at. It's a very yeah, yeah. So it's a commonality in Phoenix. And anyway, I'm just saying there's a lot of this is what I found out in the program. You ready? I'm a lot smarter than I thought I was, and I'm a lot dumber than I thought I was. Okay. And that's across the board with the whole thing. I used to think I was getting away with real slick shit, in life. And it turns out that everybody else is doing it. I used to think that, man, I used to think that, you know, I was at a halfway house and guys are getting out of prison and everything else, and that's the social norm of what's cool, you know what I mean? And looking back on it, Tim, like, I'm old enough now to know that just MTV fucked me up, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's what it boils down to, and I'm just being funny when I say that, I fucked me up, don't get me wrong, but, there was a lot of outside influences on what was cool and what was hip and everything else, and you get older and you find out that, running the streets of Phoenix, there's nothing cool about that, What goes on your resume? A freelance phlebotomist, you know what I mean? Like, that's really it, and it's crazy because it's so much wasted time, like but I wanna state this, ready? In the program, I did things like start a legitimate business, okay? Like, actual legit, not like an S corp that's gonna expire in Montana in 6 months, Like, legit businesses, and it's a good feeling. Now, I've had individuals in the program Tim, you understand this, they die on you. There's ODs all the time, alright? Some you see coming, some you don't, alright?
Yeah.
If you got into this program of recovery, a couple things have already happened and you don't even know it by being in recovery. All right. One, um, God is in your dope from now on. All right. No matter what dope you choose to use, if you go out to relapse, God's in your dope. If you don't choose to relapse, whatever you're doing, God's in your dope. Whatever you're doing to give back to the community, that's God in your dope. Whether you choose to go relapse, God's going to be in your dope. What I'm getting at is the relapse is going to get real fucked up. All right. Things are going to get real bad. When it talks about that incomprehensible demoralization, you're gonna bring yourself to levels that you didn't think you could go to, It just saves you a lot of time if you're brand new in the program. You don't have to do that, That's all it boils down to.
It's like that, like, Rocco's Basilisk thing where, like, if it's like that's like what the program is, like, if once you know about it, you can't unforget about it. Once
Yeah.
you know, and, like, it
Yeah,
ruins every future situation for you. Like, if you
absolutely.
go out and relapse now, unfortunately, you already know there's a solution, you already know it's out there, so it's gonna ruin your high. Like, I
Yeah.
tried
Oh, yeah.
successfully for 7 years to get high, and after relapsing, and it did not happen because I already knew. I already knew there was a solution, and whether it was on the forefront of my mind or not at the time, like, I knew in the back of my head and in my spirit that, like, there was something better, and you can't forget about it.
Yeah. Yeah, well, here's the thing, like, for me, I was introduced, to religion, not a higher power, okay? I was introduced to religion at a young age, you know what I mean? So I thought I had it down. I thought I had that connection. I thought I had everything. And then I got in the program, all right, after being fucked up, having the spiritual malady, um, having the disease they want to call it, you know what I mean? Uh, all of that, just being spiritually broken, just done. And getting to that stage, getting a higher power now instead of religion in my life is amazing. I mean, I have a God of my own understanding in my life. And it's crazy because my God, the reason you need to go to meetings is because everybody else's God of understanding is exactly like yours, and you don't understand it yet. But everybody in that room has the same fucking God, okay? And like the guy over there might talk about, oh my God, wears a little hat and he's 4'2". All right, well, so does yours now, okay? Because you're all together, all right? And you're finding God together, and it's an amazing concept because you all believe in the same thing. It's just like the real world, everybody pays attention to the hands pointing at it, not what they're pointing at. That's it. It's yeah, but meetings they're crucial. They're absolutely crucial. Okay. It's going to be a cusp of your recovery when they say things like 90 meetings in 90 days. You know what I mean? Be the asshole that does more meetings. You know what I mean? I'm sure you never got high more than once in a day. You know what I mean? Right? When you're
Yeah,
out
and
there,
I
you're
mean,
like,
if
oh, I got high at 8 a.m. I can't get high at fucking, 2 in the afternoon. You know what I mean? Oh, because of da da da, right? No, you did. All right. So go to another fucking meeting. That's all.
Yeah, and if you're at a halfway house, like, really, why wouldn't you go to more than one meeting? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, some days, because what else are you gonna do? Your chore?
Yeah.
Sit around the halfway house with people who are probably gonna relapse? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, really, what is the deal? I got very lucky because like the 3 people I was in a room with are still clean today, and like I actually do my nightly review with them.
Holy shit,
So yeah,
Max, right?
yeah,
Max and,
absolutely.
fuck,
Adam Davey and Joe G.
Adam, that's right, tell him I said what they'll see this. What's up, guys? Yeah, okay,
No, Max
freaking
doesn't
awesome.
watch this. He's too cool for the he won't. I've asked him to be on and stuff, and he was like, "No."
No, Max needs
So
to be on this.
100%, I agree,
Yeah,
but he won't
yeah, but he won't. Well, not with that
because
attitude. Anyway,
no, yeah. I mean,
yeah,
anything's possible.
he
He's
was
just yeah,
the
he
things
doesn't
that
like
I look,
speaking.
man, sitting on the patio at the new solution, the things that I heard come out of that room in particular, you know what I'm saying? Like, you were in the room. You know what I mean? That's it. All right? You're in the room.
One day, right? Do you remember Connie that used to like run? So like me, this is funny. It was Connie's last night there, right? And so what me and Adam and Mike and Joji did was like Max was in the room, right? And the 3 of us or 4 of us were in the bathtub, nuts to butts, in our underwear. And when she came to do bed checks, she was like, "Max, where the fuck are they?" And he's like, "I don't know. I think I heard something in the bathroom." And she comes in and we're all just massaging each other and like look at her and she's like, "What the fuck are you guys
See,
doing?"
these are the stories though, I'm gonna let you know, if you weren't there and you don't experience it, all right, everybody's gonna be like, "That's a little weird." You know what I mean?
It was hilarious.
It is. No, it's absolutely hysterical. Absolutely. Look, Nancy took a bunch of misfits, all right? She had everybody working together at the place, all right? And nobody murdered anybody. All right. It was a true testament to order and chaos is
There
what
was
she
a
did
few
there.
Sunday meetings I thought Nancy might murder
Oh
somebody.
yeah, no, no, no. But here's Nancy would throw down, bro. That's it. Like Nancy would throw down. So like don't put that into, you know what I mean? Ever, dude. That's
Yeah,
all.
Nancy would. Yeah,
Yeah, Nancy's a
love.
gangster, bro. Nancy's
Dude,
gangster,
those Sunday meetings were the absolute best, especially if you didn't do anything wrong. Like you could just sit
right?
back, watch the show, go eat some biscuits and gravy afterwards. It was the best. We would all just sit in the back when we didn't do anything wrong and just smile. We're
Yeah,
like,
what was that
fuck
like,
yeah. This
Tim?
is
What was that like?
huh?
What was
It
that like, sitting in the back smiling, not
so
getting in trouble?
well, most of them didn't get in trouble. At least once a week I got written up. But like I knew I would have to do dishes or something minuscule. Like and it was usually for something like not signing out or like not going to
Always.
I was never for not going to enough meetings. It was usually for not signing out or like not going to or not doing my chore. Like she would get pissed at me because I'd like pay newcomers to do my chore for me.
Yeah, I mean, come on, that's something you do, you know what I mean? I paid guys to do my laundry all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But it
all the
benefits
time.
both of you. Yeah,
Yeah,
because it was crazy. It was funny. Like yeah, those are some of the best times, man. And those Sunday meetings were fucking off the chain, dude. Like we never did as many people that walked in there leave. It was always somebody going home. It was like
always.
Survivor and shit. It's like, and
There
she would
really
always
was. No,
throw it in randomly. Like
it really
it
was
always
like
get
a
near
game
the
of
end of the
Survivor
meeting and
there
we're
at
like, oh
times.
shit, nobody's going home this week. Nobody's going home. And then she's like, oh yeah, and
Yeah,
you're watching
and
porn on your phone. Get the fuck out.
yeah, yeah,
Pack your
yeah,
shit and
but
get
here's
out.
here's the thing, like, early in recovery, dude, okay, so you don't need, like, if you're at a halfway house and they say shit like and this is directly from Brian, right? If they say shit like, "Don't eat candy at a halfway house," like, nowhere in the book does it say that, okay? So you don't need that going around everywhere and that becoming like a rule in recovery and da 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 da. But it's yeah, it was I'm sorry, I was just thinking about the new solution, Tim. It was like a game of Survivor. I'm sorry. I had a moment with that. That's all. Yeah, it was wow. Wow, we really did that. That's crazy.
Yeah, we really did. And like the worst is when you fucked up and like you wanted to get ahead of the curve, so you'd like go into Nancy's office and be like, "Nancy, listen." And she'd be like,
Yeah.
"What's up, honey?"
Yeah, she didn't give a
Be like,
shit.
"I fucked up."
Yeah, yeah, you're about to get paraded around the place as a fuck up if you did that, but it is what it
Yeah.
is. Yeah. Oh
God, it was
god.
great.
God,
Yeah,
man.
dude. So yeah, I'm just saying, like, I think it's incredible that anybody, if they get anything from this story, if they get anything from this podcast, it's like it doesn't matter who you were or what you did when you were out there. You have the chance to have a brand new life in this program. And like you
Yeah,
have the
it's,
chance to right the wrongs of your past and like, just do a little bit of the work. And like I said, I always tell like sponsees this, I always say this when I'm speaking. A lot of people go out like right before the ninth step. And I'm like, why would you do that? You did all this work to get to the ninth step, and then you're going to leave before the promises come true? That doesn't make any fucking sense to me. It's like, don't leave before the miracle happens. Like, if you're
Yes, yes,
miserable now, fucking just keep doing it. I promise you, like, give
but
yourself a shot.
Tim,
Like, it
I'll let you know
works.
this. I did it numerous amounts of times. I did it numerous amounts of times. I'll let you know that. And the reason was fear. It's all fear. I'll let you know that because some of my character defects are the self sabotage. Okay, like I can't help myself. I can't see myself, achieving. You know what I mean, and things like that. These are part of my character defects. So it was always fear based for me, always. But as a man, I didn't want to say that. Like uh, Tim, like I was in the army for a little bit. All right, went to Afghanistan. All right, got a little combat
Thank you for
patch.
your service.
Yeah, I appreciate servicing you. Anyway, but yeah, thank you. But I did the whole thing. I was like, man, I'm not scared of shit. I was always I have a valid man card. I'm everything else. And this program, um, you are more of a man by doing this program than going to combat with some things, I'll tell you that, because at least with combat, you know what's on the other side. You know it's just a bunch of people who wanna kill you. In this program, it is you, right? It is you. You are on the other side. And that is the scariest fucking thing sometimes because if you're dredging through the wreckage of your past, and this is man, woman, this is anybody, all right? And if you're dredging, you're carrying that with you, it only weighs you down. Okay, that's all it does. It's only going to weigh you down. They talk about breaking spiritual chains all the time. Okay, every religion, all this stuff. This program truly does that. Okay, it breaks those bonds. It clears out that wreckage. Everybody says all the cliches. You ready? Clear out the wreckage of your past. Your life's going to get better. Make amends. All this. It's all true. All right, it's all true. Some amends. Remember that it states in there whether it's going to hurt you or someone else. Them or someone else. And sometimes you're someone else. Just letting you know that, Tim.
Yeah, it's true, you know?
But that's down the road, but you're right. But it's a fear-based thing, and as a man, the whole valid man card thing, I'm this, I'm that, I'm whatever, right? The fear of looking inside myself is one of the scariest things I've ever done in my life, okay? That's simple. There's a story in the program, you might hear it, I'm just gonna kinda paraphrase it, all right? The guy goes home one evening, and he goes to his house, and he pulls out his keys, and as he pulls out his keys, the power goes off, okay? And he can't see what key, okay? And he drops the keys, all right? He looks back and he sees a light on in the street, okay? He walks to the street light and he starts looking around. And a guy comes up and says, "What's going on?" He says, "Oh, I was over there trying to open my door, the power went out, dropped my keys over there, and I'm looking for them here." And the guy said, "You're looking in the light what needs to be found in the darkness." Okay? So this whole program goes that you got to trudge into that shit that's inside of you because for me, for example, and I'll share this, like all the fears and everything of people who've done me wrong, you know what I mean? Writing that out and everybody, they've done me wrong, right? It wasn't the dope man that fucking held me in a chair and beat me that did me wrong because I had robbed him prior. You know what I mean? Like he was just, making
Yeah.
things even. All right. Like that wasn't the guy. All right. The guy was like when I was 7 years old and I dropped a can of pickles in a store. You know what I mean? And the guy that worked at the store came down and yelled at me for dropping pickles. You know what I mean? And that's the shit that I held inside internally. And I know this sounds crazy to people. All right. But the guy yelling at me and me feeling inferior and everything else I harbored inside, and it took this program to work it out and get that out, you know what I mean? And it's those little things that I held for the longest time that made no sense, and it was all fear-based.
100%. And that's the thing, like, speaking of that, when you guys do get to that step, you're gonna find that, like, some of the things that happened in your life are not your fault. However,
Exactly.
the weight that you carry around and, like, the way you're allowing it to affect you and deal with it is your fault. So, like, you have to take accountability for that. You don't have to take accountability for what happened to you, but you have to take accountability for how you're handling it,
Yes.
because I am not responsible for my addiction. I am only responsible for my recovery. And, like, if you think about it that way, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a beautiful thing.
Hearing stuff come out of your mouth, Tim, like this is absolutely insane. I just wanna let you know that. Like,
I
well,
know. It's
it
so
really is,
crazy.
man. No, it really is, like, because people are gonna watch this, all right, and you're the newcomer, all right, and you're watching this. You guys don't know our history, okay? That's the thing. Like, you don't, all
Yeah.
right? But there is one, and there's a solid one, like, it's 12 years, it's freaking crazy, all right? And I what's going to happen is one of your sponsees, Tim, is going to sit down with you, all right, and they're going to be talking just like you talk to me at a table. You know what I mean? Or just like I talk to you at the table. Okay. And you're probably going to have that moment of, oh my gosh, I can help this guy. You know what I mean? When the truth be told is anyone else that heard us speaking at the table, they should be calling psych services, man. You know what I mean? Like they should be
Yeah.
calling psych services, like, and that's a
Yeah.
reality check
Yeah.
right there,
Yeah.
So I
And it's true. Like, to even today, like, and that's the thing, like, even today, like, it's weird. You get to a point where, like, all of the stuff from your past is you have no more emotional connection to it, if that makes sense. Like, you've dealt with it, you get it all out there. Sure, some stuff still bothers you, and maybe you have a regret here and there and wish you could change something, but like, you have no more emotional connection to it, so you don't have to carry around that weight, And like, it's amazing because honestly, like the consequences to those things when you go and admit them to people or like you try to fix the wreckage of your past is literally nothing to like the weight you're carrying around. Like, you know what I'm saying? The fear behind what the fear behind facing something, the anxieties and the fear is much worse than what the consequence is going to be?
Yes. Yes. Well, that comes into that contempt prior to investigation. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like I
100%.
suffer from that hardcore, and what's crazy is I still suffer from it today. Okay. So I'm in a position now, all right, in my life. All right. I'm doing very well and everything else. And unfortunately I work a career where the only time my job phone would ring is if there's a problem. Does that understand? You know what I mean? So it's a stressful thing, but when it rings now, okay, I don't have that, oh, this and that happened, and oh, if this goes and da I'm not making up a bunch of stuff that never existed. Does that make sense? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I face the problem head on, all right, and it's the only way I can deal with it today. That's it.
And
And
staying like
it took this
you're
program to teach
like
me that though.
yeah, 100%, because if you live a life where you're solution focused rather than problem focused, you kind it makes things a lot easier. If you focus on the problem, you're never going to find the solution, and that's just the truth. But for the people that are out there, and I meant to ask you this much earlier, what do you do today? Cuz like
Oh,
it's
I'm
incredible.
a
I think
so I'm a fire suppression tech. All right. I'm the guy that in the restaurants and whatnot, I disarm and rearm fire suppression systems. So and then I help clean restaurant hoods. That's pretty much it. But hold on, I want to state this. I come from a background, okay, where it was next to nil for me to get a job. Does that make sense? When they look at things on the background and they're like, well, there was a time in my life I got to say at a time in my life, well, I don't have any drug offenses. They're all just they're all just assault and batteries. You know what I mean? I got to say that at one time, but after that, it doesn't equate, and you kind of have to fit your spot, if you will. Like I heard a guy once say, like a goldfish couldn't climb a tree, so you can't, you can't test a goldfish on climbing a tree, right? So all of us, you might not be a goldfish, you might be a flamingo. You know what I mean? You might be whatever. I don't know. Okay, but whatever you are, you have a purpose. All right, your purpose is way bigger than you'll ever imagine. All right, and your life is gonna be amazing, and you don't believe me right now. That's the thing. If you're new to this program, your life's gonna be amazing, and you don't believe me right now. Okay? That's what's crazy. But God's got you, even if you don't got God. That's how this really works.
And like it goes back to the God's purpose for me is much different than my purpose for me. Like when I first started this thing, I was a goldfish dressed as like a firefighter or like whatever, and I was trying to be a firefighter, but I could never be a firefighter because I was a goldfish and God showed me that. And and that's the direction I'm heading now. Sometimes you're just never going to be what you want to be, but you're going to find what you're supposed to do. And that's true happiness. That's serenity when you're doing what you're
Amen.
doing, what you're meant to do. And I
Amen.
mean, it feels so much different, and, like, all of the other outside stuff, like, I have no idea what I'm gonna do for work or a full-time job, like, still to this day, what my career might look like, but none of that matters to me, you know what I'm saying? Because, like, in the long run, like, I found a purpose doing something else. I found a purpose in helping other people. I found a purpose in doing whatever I need to do to get outside of
Yeah.
myself and, like,
But
try?
but Tim, you've also spent, so check this out. This is what people don't know who are watching this. This recording here took a few times for us to get together, all right? Due to my scheduling, all right? And not Tim's, believe it or not, it was due to mine. The one thing I have found after years, okay, you ready? The one thing that we all have is time, okay? And when your sponsor sits down with you to do steps, don't dick them around. Don't dick them around whatsoever because the guy has shit to do, all right? And he's got it works like this. There's a life outside of this program, okay? There is. And right now, if you're sitting in a halfway house and you're destitute or you've relapsed and you've lost everything, you're not thinking that at all, okay? But the guy who most likely the guy who's helping you out in this has a life outside of this, all right? And his time is the most valuable thing he could give. So I do want to thank you, Tim, providing me that. So thank you very much.
No, thank you, man. And you know, and that's the thing. Like you get to a point where like time is the biggest commodity in your life, and like that's the really maybe the only thing you have to give. That's the only thing any of us have to give. Time is like the most important currency. Like for me, you know, if I choose to put my time in something or my effort, that's like a huge boundary for me, right? Like I always try my hardest to respect other people's time. You know, and like if there's a chance that I can help somebody, I have no problem putting time into that. You know, but
Absolutely.
as you know, as I've gotten further along in this program, I've realized that, like, that's one of my biggest regrets is wasting other people's times, you know?
Mine
And
also.
and and, you know, and today I try to make up for that because, like, I'll put my time into somebody that needs help, even though I know that it's probably not gonna work, I still do it because on the off chance that they're like me, maybe later on down the road, they'll get it, and, you know, and they can, like, look back and, like, you know, hindsight's 2020, right? Like when we hear this message, even every time I've relapsed, you know, when I was in recovery for a short period of time or whatever, I always heard something that resonated with me later, you know? Like I always got the message later. And like today, you know, it took all those times for me to hear all these things and then finally put it together. Stars aligned and like, you know, it just is what it is today. And you know, and I couldn't be happier, you know. And again, like I said, like, I feel amazing, like, my life is better than I could ever imagine. Not financially, you know? I mean, I always imagined that I'd be sober for 2 years and I'd be, like, a huge rock star and I'd see all these boobies and stuff, and, like I mean, I've seen
Absolutely.
some boobies, nothing to write home about. I mean, I've seen a few,
No,
but, like,
no,
yeah,
no,
whatever.
definitely not. Trust me.
No,
Yeah,
you
you
know?
think it
I
is at the
find
time, though. You always think it
yeah,
is at the time, you know what I mean?
it is. You know, you're
Yeah.
like, "Yeah,
I mean, if you're brand new in recovery, I'm not saying the Scully house is out there. Anyway, yeah.
man, dude." Oh, man. Yeah, I just remember Nancy would flip shit if she found out anybody from our place was talking to Scully House Girl, like,
She
she was
did.
like,
Oh, she did. She did. She did. She did. Yeah, yeah, pass.
"Pass?" Yeah, dude, I just remember she came in and, like, sat in on the meeting I was chairing one morning because, like, all these girls from the Scully house were, like, coming to the meeting, and, like, I would allow at the end for people to give feedback to each other because I kinda took that from the nights, and I guess that was the wrong thing to do because, like,
Yeah.
these Scully house girls would come to the meeting and just rip each other apart for, like, 15 and it was not constructive, and Nancy came in and sat down, she's like, "What the fuck are you doing?" She's like, "You can't have crosstalk at your meeting, period, anymore."
So I got back into the new solution. Check this out. I got back in there. I did the community bridges thing. I did the community
I've
bridges
done
thing
that.
so much. I did the community bridges
You
thing
didn't do
so
it.
much, man. It was ridiculous. In fact, I was part of their ACT team. I was their first client on the ACT team, way back in the day, actually, the very first. Yeah, anyway, that's a whole nother story, but, I was at, CBI and, there was a guy there and everybody's coming down the CBI they took me to was the crazy one, you know what I mean? Like you go to there's the West Valley, which was the crazy, you know what I mean? The Van Buren, which was the alcohol, all right? And then the East Valley was opiates, okay? And, yeah, so I go to the West Valley, you know what I mean? Because shooting meth in your arm, you're crazy, you know what I mean? You
That
just
was the
don't
one
call
on
anybody.
Javelina, right?
What's that?
That the one on Javelina?
I think like 107th Ave or something like that, or something crazy out there. Anyway, but they took me out there and I was bad. I was real bad, man. It was all bad, of course. But there was some guy giving shit to one of the BHTs and he went to push her and I jumped up and I hit the dude. And next thing you know, I'm in the back. They kicked that guy out. They called the cops on that guy. They never did anything to me. They got me Burger King. And I guess that was Nancy's lady. And that's how I got back into the new solution.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
so
yeah.
cool.
But literally, because you have the 72 hours, and I called every halfway house. I was like, they're like, no, they're like, no, they're like, no, and all of a sudden, after this whole incident goes down and everything, there's a phone call, and it was Nancy, and she's like, yeah, I'll take them. You know what I mean? And I was like, what? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
ah. So that's how
Nancy was
that went.
probably like, "Finally, I'm rid of Chris Metter," and then she hears this story and she's like, "Fuck, I have to take him back."
Pretty much, pretty much, pretty much. But she in turn saved my life doing it, dude. Like that's the
100%.
truth.
Like,
And
yeah, she
it's
saved my
it's
life.
I look back,
Devin that used to work there, do you remember Devin? Like,
dude.
yeah,
I
he's
love Devin, bro.
I
Love
love
Devin.
Devin, dude. Devin's
Devin
amazing.
was the shit, bro. Are you kidding me? Freaking
Yeah.
amazing. Like instrumental in my recovery. He let me know that the whole fake it till you make it thing. Like he pushed that.
Yes.
He pushed that. He pushed the even if you don't want to go, even if your life sucks, everything else, just go sit in the fucking meeting for an hour, go get a cup of coffee, you know what I mean? Just who cares? At least you're fake you're in there. And that helped me at the time. That helped me.
Yeah, and, like, Devin was, like, one of the hardest working people I've ever met. Like, I mean, that dude worked hard. Like, he had a hard-ass job. Not only, like, dealing with us addicts all day, but, like, his job physically was just super hard, and, like, that dude remained. I mean, he was happy, he enjoyed what he did, and he still gave back, and, like, that's fucking incredible. I love Devin, man. He actually came and saw me in the hospital when
Shit.
I tried to kill myself, and, him and Adam came to the hospital and saw me.
Adam.
I was like, yeah.
Yeah. Adam, solid guy. Solid guy.
Yeah, he was a really good dude.
In this program, there's unfortunately a lot of people pass. Like Tim, I had my son, and I was like anyone who what's that? Yeah. Yeah. So I was actually talking to Vadim 2 days before he OD'd. Yeah. Yeah. Baby gangster. Baby gangster.
Yeah, dude, loved him, dude.
Yeah, he was out in California, I guess. I was talking to him. That's crazy, man. There's a lot of people. There's a lot of good people that have passed, and it sucks. It sucks. That's what it is because they're all beautiful children of God, and they all could have been something.
And again, like, we're the lucky ones, and, like, anybody sitting in a halfway house or anyone listening to this, just remember you're, like, a lucky person. Like, you're
Dude,
alive
you're
today. Like, you won some type of lottery or sweepstakes. You're like a sweepstakes winner, pretty
look,
much.
yeah.
You woke up today, you're
It's all
fucking,
borrowed time. From here on out, you're on borrowed time. That's it. If you're sitting in the rooms of recovery or you're sitting at a halfway house, like your best thinking, your best intentions got you there. Okay, right now, whatever they may be, and you're not batting 1,000, even though you think you are. And your life, but the thing is, your life's going to get better, and you're blessed, and you don't know that you're blessed. You're being cradled in God's hands right now, and you don't even know that. You'll look back on it and you'll see it because help the hindsight, 2020, all that good stuff. But you'll truly see that you were loved, you were cared for. God never left your side, even when you were using. That's what's crazy. You're alive now because of it. Like I talk to my lady about this all the time. Like I couldn't relapse today if I wanted to. I just want to state that there's fentanyl in everything. Okay, there's fentanyl in absolutely everything. If I relapse today, all right, and I got a shot, I'd probably go to sleep. I'd probably OD on the fentanyl. You know what I mean? And it's crazy because it's all God. So what you're telling me is God pulled me out of this at the exact time. You know what I mean? All of this is perfect timing. You know what I mean? Like a scumbag piece of crap like me, living correctly, doing the right thing, raising a family. That's God. That's not me. You know what I mean? Like, here's one. I just bought a vehicle yesterday. All right, and I have
Congratulations on that, by the way.
thank you. I have the means available to do that today. All right. Like only through this program, only through what was freely given to me. You know what I mean? Like that's the craziest part about the whole thing. And I do things like, you ready for this? After I buy the vehicle, like can't drive it until it's, registered, license plate and insured, right? Yeah, that's not Chris Metter. Do you know what I mean? Chris Metter is, well, let's break the column, you know what I mean? And it'll be good to go, like that's Chris Metter, all right? And we'll just drive it until shit happens, and then we can dump this vehicle, light it on fire, and move to the next one for insurance, like it's a whole different mindset. Like for me, I found out, Tim, it was the opposite of addiction for me wasn't exactly, it is recovery, okay, but it was connection. It was connection. You gotta
Yeah.
find that part in the fellowship. So, like, if you're faking it to make it, get yourself a good group of friends, guy friends, and go to meetings with them. Even if you're just smoking and joking outside and everything else, shit's gonna rub off on you. Even if you don't want it to, it's gonna rub off on you. That's it.
Percent. Dude, thank you so much for doing this today. And like,
Thank you for
yeah, if
having me.
of course, dude. I think like we're both. I'm so fucking happy that you're sober. How long do you have? What's your sober date?
Uh, 2019, December 24th is when I was arrested. So,
Wow, that's
yeah,
fucking awesome, dude. Like you're
yeah.
coming up on. Well, you just had 6 years. That's great.
Yep, yep,
So cool.
that's when he looked me up online, that's when the arrest happened and, everything else. So, yeah,
Yeah, I remember when we couldn't
yeah,
get 6 minutes. You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah,
when we couldn't
yeah,
get
no,
6 days.
but here's the other thing, like
Yes. Like, when I got arrested, like, honestly, I was super pissed off because I was gonna have to, like, detox in jail, but, like, I felt this sense of, like, relief when they shut the car door. Like, I don't know how to describe it. I was like, "Finally, it's over for a little while." I didn't stay sober, but, like, it instilled something in me to where, like, I wanted to get better, like, it, like, inspired me to do better. I mean, I didn't get it right away, but, like, and that's the thing, if you're out there and you don't get it right away, just keep trying because, like, you never know when it's gonna catch on, uh, you never know when it's gonna stick, and I just encourage everybody out there to just do this fucking program. Get a sponsor, do the steps, and, like, be honest, do this program, and I never thought I'd be that fucking guy trying to give my pitch and sell this program to the newcomers, but it's the truth. Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Yeah. And it's crazy to like show the change in this program. Like I had a conversation with my mom the other day on FaceTime and like I'm going through all this stuff with like my dad's house, right? Like cuz he passed away and like I'm trying to get all the things in order, but like every step of the way I'm just meeting these obstacles. Like I couldn't be the spokesperson for his estate because like I'm a felon and I don't live in Florida. So I had to get a spokesperson, right? I get a lawyer. He's misfiled paperwork several times. Like it's just not going my way. And like my dad owes so much money on this house. So like when I sell it, I'm getting something, but like not what it should have been or what it could have been. And I'm okay with that. It's fucking fine, right? But like again, just recently, the lawyer misfiled some paperwork and now we might lose the buyer, right? And like I'm talking to my mom about this. I'm like, it's fucking stressful, blah, blah, blah. And my mom's like, did he have insurance on the house? And I was like, yes, he did, mom, but I'm not burning it down. And she's like, why not? And I'm like, "Because I don't live that way today. I can't burn down my dad's house." Oh, no. No, no, no. He was not. Yeah, yeah. I'm getting like, I mean, it's not a lot. He's like $127,000 in the hole on it. So, like, but yeah, I just won't burn it down. Won't burn it down. And the relationship with me and my dad was super tumultuous. Like, we never were close. He didn't like me very much. He was like a reclusive alcoholic. But this again, this program, the spiritual principles of this program got me to look at it like okay, my dad didn't like me. He never really did anything for me, whatever. But like, it got me to look at him as just another, like, not this guy that like fucking did all this stuff to me, but like as just another alcoholic that I like needed to help. You know what I'm saying? And, yeah, and it's crazy because I got to go down there and handle some stuff for his final affairs, even though he probably wouldn't have done it for me. But I hope to be judged one day, and not if I was kind to the people around me who were nice to me, but if I was kind to those who weren't, you know? And, I went down there and I got to bring some dignity to an otherwise undignified situation because he, like, drank himself to death, and I got to see in real time, if I don't continue to do this thing, exactly how my tape plays out. You know what I'm saying? That's gonna be me if I don't make the right choices. Yeah, exactly, and, like, and I that lesson's more important than exactly, like, and that lesson is more important to me than anything else, because like it's just weird. Like, it's just such a complicated situation. But I just said God's got me. Like I'm gonna get whatever happens, happens, and I'm okay with it. That's the thing today. Like we don't do things for like we don't do all this work in this program for certain results, right? Like we do these things in this program to be okay with whatever result happens, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? We're able to be okay with whatever happens. We don't do it with the expectation. Sure, we have a hope for like what it might be, but if that doesn't happen, we do the work so that when we don't get our way, we're okay with it. If that makes sense, and we're fine. Exactly. Of course. Of course. Percent. But yeah, man, dude, again, thank you so much, man. I just think it's beautiful that you have this amazing family, this awesome career. Like, you're super happy. Like, on most days, like, or seem like they're pretty fucking great. Or should get mental health. Like, you know what I'm saying? Or should get mental health help because you shouldn't be happy all the time. That's so that's awesome. 100%, man. And dude, again, thank you so much, dude. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Go enjoy it. Spend the time with your family. Drive your new fucking truck around a little. Yeah, dude. It's so cool, man. Thank you again, and like, I just really appreciate it. You too.